Smite fans, welcome to the North American side of the bracket. My name is hi-rez Bart. This is F.NY on Twitter, and Tom in real life.
Yes, I go by both.
Well, guys, we have just one set out of North America today. Unfortunately, will be the TSM versus the enemy matchup is the one we're going to be able to bring you. Unfortunately, Cloud9 unable to field a roster today, and they will forfeit to Eager.
Yeah, unfortunately, some issues on their team, and they did not have a sub available. They just didn't have a sub checked in, which that goes down on
Well, we
Tuesdays.
saw that play out yesterday a little bit with Anastar DCing, not having a sub available to come in between the games. And, well, it is still the same week of play, and they still do not have a sub checked in, unfortunately. So, there it is. Just one set of North America, and let's go ahead and move on into it. Well, we could take a look at that enemy and talk about them as we move into TSM. And enemy's been a team, I think, that surprised at least me into the split with how much they've been winning.
Yeah, I mean, as I said on the Wednesday Pick'em show, sort of waiting for the other shoe to drop. Enemy is a team that, on paper, I mean, there's a lot of new players here, a lot of interesting question marks, and those question marks have been greeted with wins.
And, yeah, you'll notice that PainDeViande is not playing today on the side of enemy. It's Vetium, Chris Pocket, Khaos, Wiggles, of course. I think my least favorite name in all of the SPL.
Wiggles is one of them. Wiggles is one of them. And
never mind, he is playing. This just in.
We do have PainDeViande going to be coming
copyrighted.
in. I don't know what we're talking about.
We think he's playing. Now Brad just guesses he's playing. So we'll see. We'll all be excited to know whether or not Pain is playing. But let's move on to the other side, where it's TSM also a little bit shaken up coming into this week. The new roster looked okay in their last showing. It was pretty effective. Snoopy looked good. Jigz looked fine, although he did get picked quite a bit on the Sylvanas. Not an easy god to play necessarily.
Right.
All things told, Eonic, he seemed not as comfortable on the Freya, but maybe that's just the Freya into a difficult matchup. But here they are in their new rosters, Snoopy in the mid lane, and Eonic and Jigz as your duo now for TSM.
Eonic is definitely who I'm looking at. I mean, he played a fantastic support. He's a very cerebral player, which helps in that support role.
That means smart, right?
Yeah, sort of. Sort of.
Sort of.
Sort of. But essentially, moving into that hunter role requires a different sort of thought process. I mean, we've seen it happen sometimes. I think that Eonic's a great player, but it will take time to adjust. Snoopy, how long till we see Rom mid?
I think we'll see Vulcan before the Rom mid, but let's get into it now. It's the picks and bans for TSM versus enemy in the first pick position.
So with the bans coming out here in North America, keep in mind the Weakening Curse is not as strong as it used to be. And in Europe, we've seen that reflected in bans on Hell, in bans on some of the other healers. North America have always shied away from the mage solos because invades and ganks on that side of the board are a little more prominent here in North America. So we see a lot more warriors. Not sure if the heal bans are going to come out because of the change to Weakening Curse, or if North America will just keep things the same.
Yeah, Freya's been pretty popular between these squads. Serket has really become one of the highest priority, if not the highest priority pick in North America. TSM, not a fan of the shenanigans, though. They'll still ban out the Alquang. Noticeably, Hell and Aphrodite unbanned in the first banning phase. That's been extremely, extremely popular, especially in Europe and in a few games in North America that I've casted. So, all things told, yeah, it'll be the Freya. So that means that one of those, like, I don't even call them those core, really core healers,
right,
will be guaranteed to make it through this first banning phase. But I don't know. I don't like either of these teams necessarily picking Hell up.
I don't see it either.
I don't see Divios playing Hell.
I don't see it either, Bart, but what I do see happening as Athena's banned out by Team SoloMid is a Ra showing up.
Oh, the chicken.
I think that we can see the laser chicken come through. Definitely brings a lot to the table, not just in the way of power, but also in sustain. And I mean,
what's your bet for first pick here? Enemy's got some, obviously, a lot of options.
Khepri.
Yeah, you think Khepri?
If PainDeViande is playing, it's going to be a Khepri. And if he's not, it won't. It'll be a Geb.
So that means Pain is not playing?
Oh, man, I put myself in a corner.
Are you ready? Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty much black and white statement. But, yeah, Geb locked in for enemy here. Team SoloMid back their way. And, while Sun Wukong is available, he's been very high priority and also one of the beloved gods of young Divios.
That is the team skin for Team SoloMid.
Janus.
Janus going to be locked in, which is most likely.
Yeah, we saw Snoopy play that last time as well, I believe. So I guess a comfort pick for Snoopy. Also, obviously, a very high priority Janus. Or maybe he hates playing it. It's always hard to tell with, you know.
I mean, he hated playing Hunter for so
long.
Yeah,
I know. Now I'm like going to be. But yeah, the global presence coming out from TSM, and of course, anytime you see Thor and TSM, you know it's DaGarz, and you know that's one of the more potent pairings of gods and players in the world.
Well, as you said, Thor, very good on DaGarz when Batz going to be picked up for enemies jungler. But Thor solo, since the Bluestone, has been a huge deal. Thor, with the addition of the Bluestone, is able to clear the way very efficiently. The Thor ult, obviously, still powerful out of the solo lane, and the mid lane is essentially just never safe with that Thor solo, with the help of the Bluestone, able to clear. So, might option over to Divios, although with the history of Thorgar's.
Jerby's not on this team anymore, is he?
Make the joke.
I'm just saying, they're just picking
ult.
Nuwa. No, it's not a joke. He just played a lot of Nuwa. That was the joke, was just they played a lot of Nuwa. But TSM continuing into the global strat here. With Xbalanque, of course. A global hunter in his own right. Nuwa.
Does he have an agenda?
And Batz and Geb. Okay. So a lot of team fight coming out of enemy. They have a tremendous amount of CC as well through these first 3 picks. One of the more CC-heavy assassins in Batz, a very, very reliable slow on the leap. And, of course, the ultimate, the pulsing fear. Bologna going to be removed by TSM there. I think that's a good ban. More initiation, more team fight from enemy is not something that TSM necessarily wants to fight into. They do have a decent team fight here, but it's a little bit more localized. Not those big, gigantic circles, or in the case of Nuwa, hit everyone guaranteed. Back to enemy with the final ban. Probably looking at a Guardian here, would be my guess. Yep.
Yes.
Sylvanas.
Sylvanas going to be banned out, so no Sylv for Jigz. Now, keep in mind, Jigz, the support for Team SoloMid, had that Khepri level 10 very, very quickly.
But they lost with it.
In his solo play. They did lose with it, but if you watch the game, he performed very strongly. So,
but that's the thing with Khepri, right? When you draft a Khepri or the Kumba, you need to make up for it somewhere in the team fight. We saw that in the draft at London Conspiracy, right? They drafted the Amir as well.
Right.
Janus brings some of that to the table with that spread magic damage.
Thor
but I think
brings
one
that.
more. Yeah, but Thor, it's not a big AoE he has, right? It's just that, like, whatever it is, maybe 20-foot circle that he has from the Anvil of Dawn, as well as the spin to win. And then Medusa coming in from enemy. They have so much AoE on the side of enemy. Their team fight is so nasty that the single target lockdown of the Khepri may not be enough. We'll see, though. Xbalanque, he could always run through a team, but he's going to need 28 minutes or so to do it. And the Khepri ultimate. But notably, I would say Aphrodite is still available on the board for TSM. And, but the Osiris is going to make that tough with the anti-heal. Yes. Still, Aphrodite and Khepri on a team with a Xbalanque. Hyper carry is going to be a tough thing to fight into for enemy, regardless of their damage. It would be a pretty nasty counter pick here, but it would take Divios feeling confident in a lane against Osiris.
Well, Divios feeling confident. I don't think that's that strange or out of the ordinary. We'll see the pick come out for Team SoloMid. They've got the last option, and as we said, this one's going to be the counter pick to what is most likely going to be the Osiris in the solo
I would say the reliable pick here is going to be Sun Wukong. It doesn't really add that much to their lineup, unfortunately, but if he was just looking for the outplay and just kind of, we're going to do what we feel good with. Also, a big team fighter. Okay, yeah. Hades, I think, was another obvious option that just overlooked there. Was it? We're talking about they need the team fight follow-up. They need that magic damage follow-up as well. So,
and with some finesse, Hades can heal his teammates just a little bit. So, want to keep in mind that as well. DaGarz will be playing on that Thor. Again, no surprise. But keep in mind, for some of the other games, not just this week, as this is the conclusion to week number 4, but as we get into week number 5, Thor in that solo lane. Very scary. We saw Variety do it.
Yeah, I've heard some inklings of things like that, like the solo lane Thors and the Ravanas, and I think some of the teams will be looking to play. They seem the top teams once they secure their spots, and the last few weeks of the season, you may see some more spicy picks coming out as Bluestone still being figured out here at the top level. And speaking of which, you'll see Osiris has one, where Hades has elected not to go towards that Breastplate of Valor right off the bat from Divios. So he is feeling confident here, not worried about the Bluestone Pendant Osiris, who has a lot of spells.
Divios just wants to go in and be able to farm and sustain. I mean, clearing minions, definitely not a problem that Hades has. So he'll be able to get very much use out of that Vamp Shroud. Wiggles in the jungle on that Hun Batz. Still just starting out here, folks. Enemy going to be on the left-hand side, and Team SoloMid on the right.
Yeah, let's introduce him while we're at it. SaltMachine. He's going to be the solo laner for enemy, and they are the blue team, bottom side of the minimap, and the left side of the spectator UI. It's, wigglesdabae in the jungle, as you mentioned, on bots. Khaos in the mid lane is Nuwa. PainDeViande will be your support Geb, notably not on the Khepri. And Vetium, he is the hunter. And yes, it is Vetium from the Vetium's mouth. But on the side of Team SoloMid, they're the top side, right side of the UI, and they're wearing the red trunks as Divios in the solo lane, as Hades, DaGarz with the signature, Thor in the jungle, Snoopy with Janus, I believe the only mid laner he's played so far in the SPL. Jigz and Eonic will be your dual lane as Khepri and Xbalanque.
Very interested to see how this dual lane goes for Team SoloMid. As we said, last time we saw Eonic play, it was the Freya. Now on the traditional Hunter, a little bit different in the playstyle. Should be interesting to watch this go down. And Snoopy, as you said, going to be reprising his role on Janus.
I think that, the Medusa matchup isn't really a very hard one. She's where she was really a pretty strong lane dominator, and her ability to fight those first 3 mid camps was so good at the level 5. Now without that really good opportunity to steroid yourself at the 3-minute mark at those level 5 fights, she's fallen off a bit in terms of her priority certainly and effectiveness. And Xbalanque with the darts, he's able to get reliable poke on her as well as the acid spray from Medusa. So it should be a pretty even matchup, and ultimately Xbalanque will get the better of it.
Khepri will be able to help clear the wave a lot, which is mainly where Xbalanque has issues. So by being able to use that second ability down the wave, you'll be able to see these minions die. And right now, Team SoloMid trying to surprise their opponent. Wiggle's going to take a lot of poke, but be able to jump out of there no problem.
Well, 98 seconds in, no big action yet. It's just been the clear game. Eonic, though, taking quite a bit of harass here from the Geb and the Medusa.
The acid spray is so hard to avoid.
Yeah, you really got to play that angle right. Jigz is going to go in, but Geb takes care of a lot of that. And maybe this is PainDeViande's experience on the Khepri saying, look, there's not much you can do versus Geb.
I liked the body block coming out from Geb right behind the Khepri as well, understanding exactly what that abduct is going to do. It's going to grab your target and then pull it backwards.
Divios, he's taking quite a bit of harass from SaltMachine here, and you see the blue sun continue to take him down. But let's keep an eye on the Hades here, as once he moves in and kills this wave, the heal is pretty profound. He should be right back up towards full HP. Divios waiting on those cooldowns.
If he decides to go in, SaltMachine definitely.
Yeah, he may just actually try to use one spell here instead of. No, he'll throw out the silence and heal himself up. But the hell with that. Let's take a look at Vetium clearing off the minions here from the tower. Nearly level 5 over here in the solo lane. You can see about 4 1/3. So 2 more waves to go before we may see some initiation over here on the left side. Mid camps will be coming back around in a little under a minute. So all of the action seems to be it's a fairly slow-paced game.
Junglers have been very quiet, and that goes to the nature of the specific picks that we see. Now, Thor's a character that can deal some damage before level 5, but obviously that Anvil of Dawn and semi-global being so potent. Whereas Batz
Divios
really
is in trouble. He dashed here. Batz is waiting in the wings, but it doesn't look like SaltMachine feels resilient enough to go into the tower, even with his passive fully activated and all that damage reduction. And they're going to let Divios fall back to the base. Wiggles will show himself, and yeah, they'll get a little bit of farm, but Divios gets out of that one. And what could have been a dangerous situation. Teleports back to the tower, won't lose a minion.
Batz not yet with the Blink online if that's the route he chooses to go. Blink is really a big boost for what Batz can really bring to the table. As I was saying, I mean, he doesn't really exist before level 5 bars, so that's why we see sort of this 3 minutes of nothingness. But Wiggles waiting here. DaGarz caught him out.
Yeah, Divios, if his leap is up, you may see him actually go onto Wiggles and force a leap there. No, it's just going to be an easy kill on the SaltMachine here. Nice place, Janus ultimate too. Snoopy, the god, look at that snipe. Holy moly.
I mean, we talked about ROM snipes.
I mean, predicted the leap perfectly there, and just, I mean, that's going to be in the highlight reel. Now I just hope TSM wins so I can watch that again.
From the mid tower. Wow. Incredible stuff. And that's first blood. So the first kill on the board for Team SoloMid is going to be an extravagant one.
And, you know, I like that Snoopy in his kind of announcement that he would be moving to the mid lane said, maybe you'll see some snipes on different gods soon instead of the ROM. And indeed, that seems to be the case. A nice Janus portal there is going to do a ton of damage to Wiggles, even through his ultimate. Now the damage coming out from Hades, and it's just a brilliant blink in from Divios. He's going to lose his life here, but he's going to find one on the back of it. He'll get the rotation, and I guess a little bit off the mark there. Was he under tower? I think it was
just a little bit,
like slightly under tower there. So while I said it was a brilliant initiation, it really was not so great. It does get the kill, but probably not a trade that's that magnificent for him. His teleport is down.
Teleport's down. It is worth noting that the support got the kill. So if anybody gets that kill, I guess you want it to be PainDeViande if you're rooting for Team SoloMid. But either way, interesting trade. 2-1 of the kills just this early in the game, and Team SoloMid also already off to a decent start, honestly.
Yeah, they're doing fine for themselves. I mean, they get the kill back there, but they have a good early advantage here, about 1,000 gold going their way. Just getting a bit more farm out of the map. Slowing down Wiggles, of course, with that first blood onto the right side. Divios, he's back to the lane. Looks like he lost about half a wave of experience there. SaltMachine, he'll be just a bit ahead, and really SaltMachine's had the better of this lane. But that's kind of how the Hades lane generally will go. Unless you're playing against something that has very, very weak clear. Your ability to really out-damage them is not there with something that has good poke like the Osiris.
Just a lot of burst coming out from the Hades.
Yeah, something like a Chalk even would have about the same effect here. You're able to chip away at Hades pretty well. His clear, until he hits the critical mass of about right here, is not so great, but then all of a sudden, it's just amazing and there's nothing you can do.
We'll probably be able to blow up this wave. We're getting
Yeah,
very aggressive, completely understanding just how potent he can be right now. And there, as you said, the one shot of the wave with Devour Souls. And now we'll see a very different Hades coming into this lane.
Yeah, now it's complete domination, and Osiris just has to hope that he's done enough to this point. Divios is going to force out the ultimate there with an ultimate of his own. And won't be able to follow it up very well, but can clear this wave once again pretty quickly and get a free back out of it if he wants. And he's certainly very close to finishing off this Pen Boots if he wants to go for him. SaltMachine, although all credit to him as well, hasn't really given up too much here. Didn't give much tower damage up at all to the Hades with the superior clear. Has a teleport 2 the first time he has to use it, so we'll enjoy that shorter cooldown. Not to mention has his power boots online, so this trade actually can go his way. You see Devour Souls was used by Divios there. With just the one stack, so it didn't do too much. And every time you can force Hades to use his spells, it puts him in an awkward spot because they are very, very long cooldowns.
That's sort of the relic of him actually being a Guardian.
Right, yeah, I think so. I think you're right there, yeah, that the spells, while being very powerful, are on long cooldowns, as you're supposed to use them to save people, not kill SaltMachine.
It's very interesting how Hades has gone through different roles over the years, and now level 9.
Oh, he's in some trouble here, though.
These soul inners, and Wiggles is here.
SaltMachine's trying to bait, but he was spotted up by Thor. You can see SaltMachine moving back towards the mid lane. And I'm sorry, not SaltMachine. Wiggles on the Hun bots. There's SaltMachine. He's using the Judgment Tether, but it's not going to pop. And SaltMachine's forced back yet again. Divios getting the better of this lane slowly but surely. Let's check into the mid lane here, though, where DaGarz, he's going to get that wall just on the wrong side of, I think, where he wanted it. Pain's actually going to try to turn and fight. He'll knock up Jigz as well. No initiation coming out of the Khepri.
It's just not there. Damage on the right-hand side on the blue buff, so Divios will be able to invade enemies' jungle and take the blue buff away from SaltMachine.
Yeah, he's going to go in here.
Be abducted. This could be damage. Divios is here, but no ultimate on, no ultimate used just yet. There it is. The damage on the Pain is good and not enough. Wiggles crashes down and gets the kill, and DaGarz comes on the backside, takes out the Guardian.
Hammer, is it enough? Yes, he'll get the back tap there, and now Khaos in trouble as well. Force up into that new ultimate, but the movement speed increase from Snoopy. They cover the angle. They'll let her get back to base. Jigz, he's trying to space this perfectly, but nicely done by SaltMachine. I think he's still going to die, though. Yes. Jigz just a little bit too far away there. SaltMachine thought he had it. He went for the opportunity, trying to make the hot play. Just a bit off the mark, and TSM comes out big there. Just trading Divios for what ended up being, I believe, 3 kills.
I mean, this is why people use the term DaGarz. We're not seeing anything flashy at all. All of this is just textbook. Land on the guy that's low. Use your hammer. A lot of these hammer throws that we're seeing out of DaGarz's part are hard to hit, and he's just making them seem so easy, able to nail them on a whim for the last hit on these kills, and that's why he's really identified himself with this character. We're 8.5 minutes in, he's already 3-0 and 2.
Divios gets a ton of tower damage out of this engagement as well. He'll nearly take down the tier 1. He could have actually proxy farmed that wave behind the tower, but he'll play it a little bit safer. Going to give some respect to SaltMachine, who has been definitely a shining light on the side of enemy so far this split. Wiggles, he's had some trouble getting it going on Hun bots, although I know it's a god that they've played a little bit. It's a little bit out of meta here. His ability to fight early just wasn't that great. Now he's kind of past that point. Jotun's Wrath, though, is going to be a little bit behind Thor, who has had that better start at 3-0 and 2, and the counter-initiate from DaGarz has been really, really on point so far. The experience advantage is really what's playing so importantly into TSM's favor. As we take a look at the graphs here, you'll notice that the XP is quite a bit higher than the gold. Nearly 4,000 experience, and that's translating into a level or 2 across the board pretty much for TSM.
Nobody really looking either way. Jigz is waiting here. I was expecting them to go ahead and grab. That's why I was waiting for the moment to happen. I thought Jigz would go ahead and be aggressive, but as we take a look at the inventory, I mean, he on the Khepri, not quite having that blink just yet.
Yeah, not going for the blink. Looks like, is he going to go for the mail of renewal here? No, it's not.
Well, mail renewal, not the option right now, but it's just so powerful recently. It got buffs in almost all of its stats. Very, very strong. Divios get a strong man out. Ult for ult is the storyline in the solo lane.
Yeah, but the tower damage here and the continued poke onto the tower from Divios. 3-4 in hands now with each wave. Now SaltMachine just forced back. He notices this one is up. And the Hades provides a pretty tough matchup for the Osiris. Osiris is going to be forced to make some big plays happen here once this lane has now broken to kind of recover into this game. And Osiris not a god that really does that well as from behind. Like, he's not a great recovery god. He doesn't have the ability to farm really quickly necessarily until he has a lot of items. It'll be Gold Furies and Towers on the side of enemy that are going to help out the most here. They need to get some pressure on the map up against TSM. They'll make the big rotation to the left side.
They're going to look for some sort of kills here. Team SoloMid, only 2 members here. Ultimate coming out from wigglesdabae. Overhand smash, not going to be enough. Eonic does have the Resurrection channeled on him. Here comes DaGarz. He's going to take out Vetium. Wiggles, he'll get a wave just for now. Snoopy's on the side looking for the hit.
Eonic's
Snoopy
fighting here.
coming up the lane. Little fast. Dodges the unstable vortex. Basics will miss as well. Divios, in the meantime, gets the kill in the middle of the team fight. Team SoloMid take out 2 for none.
Yeah, and a little bit of hesitation here as well from Snoopy, as you may have seen other Janus players then port forward aggressively and try to proxy between the tier 1 and the tier 2 and get that last hit on Batz. He goes back. Snoopy, but he'll go and join the team for the Gold Fear, and I think that's just a fine choice. Although, just a little bit of a glimpse of maybe a lack of confidence as a mid laner.
Just growing pains. We'll probably see Snoopy make those plays later on if he should succeed in this mid lane. But off of an early solo lane tower and an 11-minute Gold Fury, Team SoloMid find themselves very comfortably in the lead by 4,000 gold and about 5 kills, 7-2.
It's not really where you want to be with enemies lineup. They have such good team fight. What they really want to do is take that first Gold Fury, like fight on the left side of the map to take the first Gold Fury. Yeah. But what happened there was they over-pursued. It's hard to say over-pursued, but basically the Khepri ultimate just baited them in. It allowed Eonic to res as well, bringing him back into the fight, and then that happened right as DaGarz reinitiated. And it just set up a really, really tough situation for them. They're actually lucky they didn't lose Wiggles as well. It allows him to keep farming, most importantly, and keep those levels up, because his ability to nearly, if not completely, one-shot a target is the difference maker there. Like, he almost killed Xbalanque with his rotation of spells. Was just up. And ultimate was used in the mid lane here. It seems to be trying to pick up DaGarz, but DaGarz able to deal with it fine for now. Xbalanque ultimate used. Divios is going to move forward. Thinks he has a plan to Wiggles, but Wiggles beads plus a Geb shield are used to get him out of that one. Now they'll turn their attention to the Geb, who is a sitting duck for that Hades ultimate. No dash to get out of there. And back to the mid lane goes TSM with another kill under their belt.
Divios has made those Pillars of Agony, Bart, so impactful. A lot of times we'll see Hades ultimates and they're just beads or walked out of every single time. Even the one where Divios died under tower has been important and resulted in a kill.
Well, that's the difference between a very, very good Hades player and one of the best Hades players. Is Pillar of Agony, like when you decide to channel the ability, is really important, and your willingness to use it appropriately on a single target, and that decision making often goes into what makes the game work or not. It's always great to have that big ultimate that hits 4 people in the middle of the team fight and wins it for your team, but at the same time, securing a kill into a high priority target, or even just any target like a Geb, at the right time, knowing that you're not going to fight and you're going to go farm again for another 90 seconds, is always worth it. And Divios, this game, has really showed a high willingness to pull the trigger.
Especially in that solo lane, not resulting in the kills, but resulting in the win of making SaltMachine jump out, use his own ultimate, and then forced out a lane. On the left-hand side, Team SoloMid trying to pressure Duo the way they did in the solo lane, and that tower down to about a sliver of HP.
Yeah, they have Thor over here as well. They know his Vetium's like completely out of mana, and if he does in fact recall, yeah, they were going to dive PainDeViande there, but they may just dive anyway. There may be enough mana for the Lacerate on the side of Medusa, if that. I mean, if she uses a single spell, it's a lot of trouble. DaGarz, he's just going to go in, use Berserker's Barrage to set it up. Yeah, that's a good call, right? Don't use your mobility, don't use your stun. You can use that to set it up a little bit later. And yeah, they'll get the kill easily, take them to the tower as well. A shell used there, just to prevent some of that damage. Janus rotation coming this way. Wiggles, he may try to follow it up. They'll blink over the slow, I think, just to prove that he could do it, but unable to really fight there.
PainDeViande going to try and prevent some of the damage onto his Tier 2. Losing the Tier 1 is just 500 gold, but losing in Tier 2 at 14 minutes tells a very different story. So, enemy want to write their own novel. They're going to prevent that push over on the left-hand side, and they'll rotate elsewhere. But so will Team SoloMid in this mid lane tower. This one's going to fall.
They're going to need a few more hits on it. Yeah, DaGarz will get it, and he'll just teleport away. Oh, just off the mark there was Wiggles, and smart stuff by DaGarz. He preemptively pops the beads, goes right up in the ultimate. He and Snoopy may be able to turn this one around. No, Wiggles, he'll disengage as well. So a couple of heads-up plays there on both sides. Wiggles realizes he's dead if he continues moving forward, even with the Geb shield.
Nuwa hasn't really, the mid lane, honestly. Janus has made his impact known. Khaos, I haven't seen him anywhere but this mid lane.
Oh, now we are going to have the Mail of Renewal started up on Khepri. This time I'm pretty sure that's the right icon. I have a 90% certainty that is going to be a Mail of Renewal at this point. On the other side, it's Breastplate of Valor for Divios here, the other kind of mage tank on the side of TSM. So tanking up very, very aggressively, and Thor also going to be building towards that Mail of Renewal, it appears. So, yeah, this is maybe going to be the popular strategy for the next couple of weeks would be my guess for the top teams. Is we've seen this happen many times when you see defensive items buffed. They get a little overvalued, and teams will just mass buy them once they get ahead.
Right.
We saw it with Magi's Blessing. We've seen it with Spirit Robes. We've seen it with Bulwarks of Hope. We've seen it with all kinds of things in the past. SaltMachine is actually going to try to fight Divios here. Divios is going to use his Beast 3 to try to get some cooldown back, it looks like. Oh no, that was a Beads 1 to avoid the tether. He wants to continue fighting here, and he'll get it with the in-hands. Divios makes that one look easy.
Snoopy shows up just for some moral support. He'll join his solo laner on the right side. And 2 on the right, but Team SoloMid makes sure to leave 3 on the left side with Gold Fury respawning. They know that enemy is going to be aware of that and will be around the objective.
Yeah, 3-man clear. The purple buff. They're over here on the left side. Gold Fury, she flies back in now. Enemy seems to have the timer. Maybe not. They're walking away from it now. TSM, they're going to go sniff out the Gold Fury, see if they can get a reaction out of enemy, it appears. Falling back towards the mid lane is Snoopy.
Just do it.
Just in front of Hades as well. They could always use that ultimate to pull in very, very quickly into the fight. Wouldn't be surprised to see TSM try to bait this one out still, even with this protracted engagement. No. I'm sorry. Eonic is going to go push this wave back before they can try to make the play at the Gold Fury. They want to have the lane pressure and force either some tier 2 damage or at least give Divios some opportunity to split push on the other side of the map if need be, if this one stalls out completely. But not really too deep of wards as ward right out to the Fire Giant to port to, I suppose. SaltMachine. His port is down, still only rank 2, and he's on the right side of the map. And the second that TSM sees this, they're going to go for the Gold Fury. Yep, there it is. He starts farming out the map, and here they go. And this one is just going to be forfeited by enemy. Maybe a decision that they made to give this one up. I mean, you have to assume that's what it is, that they pulled him over there to say, hey, look, we'll just try to steal it away. But they may lose Pain here as well. A questionable call. I mean, certainly one that they must have thought about as the fight continues to break out. It's not looking very good for enemy here. Continue to get chipped away. Gold Fury getting very, very low. She's going to go down now.
That's it.
And it's a clean Gold Fury for TSM. Again, yeah, that decision by enemy to send SaltMachine off to farm. They end up hurting them here. Divios has great position. He uses ultimate. He's stunned up by the new one nicely there. The Hunbot's ultimate as well is in the perfect spot to drive them back. And look at the return kill. Has TSM overextended. Eonic's going to try to play to the front line of Xbalanque and get a kill onto the Gambit. The rollout already activated. He's going to have to hit 2 bolas as he moves away. Off the mark was DaGarz with the ultimate, but he does get the right side of Vetium, and they will be able to at least pick off 1 return kill, and it'll be on a good priority target on Wiggles. Once again, Divios trades his life for the bots, but TSM still the victor there. The 1-for-1 plus the Gold Fury. SaltMachine, though, he'll get a tier 1 and make his way maybe up to the tier 2 or at least steal away a blue buff. So they did succeed in getting some farm onto their Osiris, and that's the recovery that we were wondering where and if it would come for him.
Team SoloMid, though, as you said, they pick up the Gold Fury, they pick up a couple of kills in that team fight, and now with the minion wave here, they're pushing on to this tier 2. Eonic is hitting and taking some tower shots, not afraid of it. But we will eventually see Team SoloMid get out of here. Now, with that big swing, 6,000 gold in the lead for TSM, they're looking very strong in their first game.
So here's a fun little interaction for you. Xbalanque's Rising Jaguar, the flippy flying dash that he does, that is augmented by movement speed.
Yes.
So the faster that you go, the further you will dash. And on the side of TSM, both the Jigz Khepri ultimate as well as Snoopy's Threshold will speed that up, allowing him to disengage and engage from really, really long distances.
Where's the Heavenly?
And yeah, Heavenly maybe to come as well.
I want to see it go as far as possible. Where's the Heavenly?
Max MS. Okay, Divios. He's going to go ahead and force out that new ultimate here into a bad position. It's great because TSM, they were all in the mid lane anyway, and enemy knew where they were, so they're not going to get any information out of forcing out that new ultimate. Look at an easy kill onto the Guardian. And look at that. A couple of members of TSM just pieced out right before that Hunbot's ultimate came down. And there's not going to be any follow-up initiation. A huge, huge ultimate just dumped there. 2 of them, in fact. And they're not going to get much out of it. They forced out Wiggles' leap here as well, and TSM is just going to choke off the map now. Move forward and try to take these tier 2s and prevent any farm coming the way of enemy. 3-12 for TSM as we approach the 20-minute mark. Just under 19.5 here. And in a good 6,000 gold lead for TSM.
Team SoloMid looking at the mid tier 2 tower. Vetium picks up his purple buff and will make his way over here to support the team. Thought about going aggressively, but instead will pick up his back harpies on the way of a defensive set. Tier 2 tower is taken out by Team SoloMid. Now on the right-hand side, Snoopy by himself, looking at the tier 2 as well. This one should fall and put some more gold onto the coffers of Team SoloMid. Enemy just a step behind. Not able to respond
I think that's exactly right. I mean, enemy, they've looked pretty good this season. They're sitting quite high in the NA standings. They've been able to successfully get a lot of wins so far, but TSM, they just haven't really seemed pressured at any point during this. Divios won his lane. Mid lane was split. Snoopy, although getting that first blood, actually ends up, I think you could say he won that lane. Certainly the farm game. The fight continues to break out here. A couple of ultimates being dumped in by enemy, but TSM, they've just continued to poke away. That level advantage is huge. They have the items, and they have the bonus HP from those levels. You can see there's nothing that enemy can do here that's really going to change the way this fight is going. Pain, he looks like he's the next to fall. Yes, the back tap on the hammer. SaltMachine, he's going to get a kill here. No, it will go to the side of Khaos' Nuwa. Divios, he's in the front line. SaltMachine, the only one that really has substantial farm. Divios will heal himself up. Khepri ultimate activated as well. In comes DaGarz, back tap of the hammer is there. He ports forward as well. It'll force Nuwa over to the side, which sets up the kill for Snoopy very, very nicely. SaltMachine to fall here as well, and it is not going to be a deicide. Oh, maybe? No. DaGarz not going to get it there, but just about 10 HP remaining on Wiggles. And yeah, TSM, they just forced the fight at the Fire Giant and went right through enemy there.
All of the members of Team SoloMid just barely getting out. They were so low, but a couple of good decisions coming out, most notably from Divios off of Jigz. So Jigz ulted, put the resurrection spell onto the Hades, who was retreating. Immediately you saw Divios turn around and go right back into the fight, allowing that final 4th kill to really become a reality.
So nails of renewal, man.
Yeah, Team SoloMid understanding how their gods interact with each other and their kits.
Yeah, that's the Mail of Renewal on Thor. That's what allowed Thor to reinitiate there and beat about 75% HP, moving forward and picking up that last kill.
As we said, can we take a look at Mail of Renewal? It's recently been adjusted. You see an extra cooldown, more cooldown reduction, more physical protection, even more health return, and not only god kills, but also objectives. So if Team SoloMid look at the Fire Giant and take it down, well, the team will reheal.
Well, and Fire Giant is going to be the target here. Enemy just now leaving the base. They're starting to close in. Fire Giant, he's about 50% HP now. Pain's Blink has been deactivated as he's been forced into combat. The Hun bots, Blink's still on cooldown. They're just going to try to fight into Divios here.
It was a good fight for enemy.
Yeah, they've done fairly well. The Fire Giant debuff was still active there, and they forced TSM to drop the Fire Giant. Although they may lose Wiggles here. The hammer going to come out. No, it doesn't matter. Eonic's going to get it with a Rising Jaguar. Geb's going to move forward, but he's going to try to knock up into a CC immune target. SaltMachine, again, he's going to be the difference maker here in this fight, and you can see that TSM is kind of forced to kite him. Janus, the only one that can really do much damage to him, but speaking of Janus, he's getting ripped apart by the Medusa. PainDeViande will go down to Divios. Divios, with the Mail of Renewals now activating on the side of TSM as they get that first kill, it'll just keep on snowballing, and look how resilient they are. Those frontliners just healing right back up. Hades, of course, bringing that out of his kit. Thor and Khepri enjoying the item proc.
Nuwa and Vetium here on the backside, or right in front of your screen right now. Team SoloMid starting the Fire Giant. Top left side of your screen will tell you the HP of it. It's about 75% HP now. Medusa and Nuwa. Nuwa has a good chance. A good minion explosion can steal this away. The Fire Giant, 40.
Thor's going to block them out, though, if it even becomes remotely close. He can zone them really, really well. Yeah, Vetium, his dash is going to be forced out. Lazarite's gone. That's it. That's their Fire Giant has been conceded on the side of enemy at 23 minutes.
Team SoloMid goes ahead, picks up the Fire Giant at the 23-minute mark, leading in all categories, most notably gold, by over 10,000. 12K on the side of the black and white Team SoloMid. As we take a look at the graphs, it is one big swing down towards the red side.
Yeah, it's been just a slow and steady decline on the side of for TSM. They've just... Yeah, they pulled ahead really at every point. I mean, I was saying it a little bit earlier, but they won the solo lane with the first blood going to the side of Janus with that great snipe out of Snoopy. They ended up winning the mid lane as well. The duo split probably, but Xbalanque ends up outscaling Vetium, and Vetium, they don't really get the team fights they were looking for through the mid game. TSM won a couple of team fights in the mid game up against this big AoE comp, and just continued to kind of snowball from there. It's just been, it seems like they've gotten the better by 1 or 2 kills in every single fight so far this game. Enemy, granted, they do still have some, a tower remaining, and their Phoenix is all standing, but they need to win several fights now at this point to bring this game back to even. It's not quite late enough they could just go win off of a single good team fight.
So how good is Team SoloMid playing? I mean, as we said, enemy performing very, very well as far as the win-loss column is concerned, but, I mean, is this TSM really overperforming?
I think they just won their lanes this game. I think is really what happened. They took a lineup that was just greedier than enemies. They won their lanes, and they won the first team fight phase, and enemy really needed to excel there. They're a little bit more of an early game focused squad, and it just didn't work out for them. And I don't think it's necessarily, I wouldn't point a finger at anybody, but I would say that the Hun bots is the one that suffers the most probably out of the way the game went, right? When you lose your lanes and you lose those team fights and Hun bots isn't getting kills and isn't getting that Jotun's Wrath online early, and the Thor is, it gets really hard to control anybody.
With that, I wonder if enemy going to be able to pull it out. We've seen them come back from large deficits in the past. About 8,000 gold, 9,000 gold, if I'm not mistaken, was their deficit against one of their earlier week matchups. So it is possible. We've seen this. It's definitely possible, and we've seen this team do it. So it might even be probable. But with 12,000 gold on the side of Team SoloMid, it will prove to be a tough task.
Well, it's doable. It's so like, when you get down 10K and the enemy team, their Fire Giant just wore off, they took a bunch of your towers, and now you're at 10K down, right? Like, that's a much more recoverable spot than where they are now, which is you're down 10k and the enemy's just picked up Fire Giant buff and they're coming to knock on your door, which means they have to win a team fight at their base, and then they need to win another team fight out in the field somewhere to set up a bunch of objectives to close that gold gap. And speaking of knocking on the door, here is TSM. They're going to move down the left side and try to take the far side Phoenix away from the Fire Giant enemy. One of the most critical fights that they're going to have in this game, outside of perhaps one of those first two where they really could have gotten themselves moving. Here, if they could find a way to knock this Fire Giant buff off a couple members of TSM, find a couple kills for themselves, they could start the path to turning this one around.
Keep in mind, not a traditional composition, or any composition with Khepri, not going to be the traditional Guardian blinks in and gets 5 people in a Wrath of Terra. Very much different approach for Team SoloMid here, so ultimate down for Wiggles. That is a huge portion of enemy's defense.
Was that a misclick, you think, or?
It's got to be.
That's
very big swing for Team SoloMid off of
tough,
unfortunate circumstances.
I mean, maybe not. Maybe trying to stall out their ability to deal damage. They had gotten some decent poke on Eonic as well previously on in that fight, but the Phoenix continuing to get poked away at. Now down to about a third HP, and wave by wave, TSM is going to take this one down.
Another wave of minions coming up the lane, just behind where Team SoloMid is, the first entrance to the jungle on the left-hand side. Minions are crossing right now. They're going to go ahead and cross this threshold, and the Darkest of Nights is used, blinking his PainDeViande. This is where enemy wants to make their counter initiation. Hunbat's ultimate is down, keep that in mind. Nuwa goes to the skies, takes out a couple of pieces of the HP bars, but with the Phoenix down, Team SoloMid able to push the gas pedal. Divios takes out PainDeViande off of the assist of the reigning Thor.
They're going to try to take out the Osiris here. SaltMachine's going to be a big kill for them if they can get it. He does a lot of damage and he provides a lot of control, and yeah, they will get him down here now. That means that it's an ultimate less. No, ultimate's back up for Hunbat's. He may be able to re-engage, but ooh, they would need just like the perfect engage into all of the burst damage that they could provide. And no, he's just going to try to pick off one on the way out and prevent the second Phoenix from going down. I don't think that was maybe the best place to use that. Maybe a little sign of frustration there to Wiggles.
Yeah, unfortunately, we saw a quick trigger on the last ultimate. Unfortunately, Vetium tending to the left-hand side as the middle Phoenix is inevitably going to fall. There it is, and Team SoloMid has 2 Phoenixes down. With
poke is so good.
4 members of enemy here to play some defense. TSM gonna play it safe and not push in.
So the reason that the teams will continue to pick off structures instead of going in and trying to finish the game is that the more Phoenixes you take down, the less HP that final Titan does have. So we talked about it a little bit yesterday, but if you actually had the cursor on the Titan, you would see that his total HP pool gets reduced every time a structure does go down, and it's 500 per Phoenix, I believe. So 1,500 HP removed.
Enemy 3 Phoenixes down now. Titan, no damage just yet as Team SoloMid did slink back into their side of the map. Moving away from the Phoenixes, that Fire Giant's going to spawn very soon, but does enemy... Well, enemy wants to defend, but unfortunately Team SoloMid did such great work in the lanes that they're going to have to defend their own base rather than the objective.
And now it's the... this is like... These are just the kind of plays that are just really smart stuff. I mean, TSM itemization, theory crafting, it seems to be very on point. Look at the Thor build here. And I think this is the second time I want to say I've seen this build, where you go into the Mail of Renewal and then just stack anti-healing. And it's just, you just are just trying to extend fights as long as possible with this kind of build. So the Khepri's going to heal himself back up. You have all the lifesteal on the Xbalanque out of that Soul Eater. You have big HP items on the Hades. Janus is he's just doing his thing. He's self-sufficient. He has tons of mana and loads of damage. No lifesteal on the Janus though.
No.
And they basically take these extended engagements and let Thor and Khepri just soak up damage all day. They shut down the enemy's healing. They'll take down their Fire Giant, of course, before they try to move in and finish this one off. Enemy knows they can't defend, as Tom said. They just got to wait there and hope that they can somehow stall out this next push from Team SoloMid as the Fire Giant goes down in 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye.
And we've honestly seen this out of enemy. Enemy has, for what it's worth, been great at counter initiations and performed very well in defensive situations. They've been able to fight 6v5 under the Phoenix, but not the case. Caught out just a little bit with Team SoloMid being very aggressive. Eonic and Divios already erased 2 members of enemy off of the board. And with that, Team SoloMid will continue down this right-hand side, past where the Phoenix once was, and go directly into enemy's base. Divios channeling the Pillar of Agony. PainDeViande is alive.
Hey, he's going to make it. But this will be the game. Certainly tightened down to under half HP already. And falling quickly, TSM will take game number 1 away from enemy. and advance their own campaign as Enemy was doing quite well so far this split. They'll pick up a rare loss for them so far.
That's going to be their third.
Team SoloMid there. One of the things that we used to talk about a lot when Batz was very popular was how difficult this god is to play late in the game because every ultimate has to be perfect or the god is ineffective, straight up. And that's what we saw here. I mean, basically Wiggles had, I think, the last 4 ultimates, certainly the last 3 were forced at best, I would say. And if you don't get those perfect initiations, he just doesn't really do much. Because everyone has their beats 3 and Magic's Blessings and these types of things come out. Just couldn't get anything done.
Exactly. You know, and to that point, that's why we saw Batz sort of suffer in the pick rate early on in this meta. Teams were very used to these choreographed starts at the beginning, and with that change of the mid camps, not
this was
quite
huge, right?
the case.
He waited here so long, did Wiggles, and the first blood ends up going the way. But this is the Snoopy snipe of Legends there. But as you recall, yeah, the Batz was waiting there. He got a really fast level 5. Wiggles farmed incredibly well through the first few minutes of the game, moves over to the right side lane, and then the initiation comes out of Thor. And Thor was able to call him out. He knew he was there right when he went up. Let's take a look at Alpha Draft's top performers this game, and it's going to be TSM. And there they are. Snoopy.
All across the board.
You don't get points, unfortunately, for distance on your snipes. Only 39.1 for him, but DaGarz puts up a nice 56-point performance. Would have been a good choice this week, or even just today for you on Alpha Draft. If you're wondering what the heck this is, it's daily fantasy. And if you want to play it, you have an opportunity to earn some real money.
Yeah.
Picking the best smite players each day.
Take your esports knowledge to the test and earn real money, as you said.
Earn real money. That's how it goes.